This map of Odisha charts a 220-kilometer daytime motorcycle journey between Raikia, Rajkarayar, and Jaipur. By sunset, Chandrakant and Amit had to head home. Their return route required navigating a remote highway cutting directly through the Rampur forest. At 8:30 p.m., a phone call changed the stakes. Amit's boss found an error in an accounting report and gave him an ultimatum: fix the mistake in person by 9 a.m. tomorrow or find a new job. To Amit, the threat of unemployment felt more dangerous than a road he hadn't seen yet. They decided to skip the hotel, start the engine, and head toward the unlit tree line of the Rampur highway. At this moment, the 9 a.m. deadline became the only danger that felt real to them. They risked the forest because the consequences of staying put were too expensive to consider. The first warning comes at a roadside diner. A truck driver who knows the route hears their plan and tells them to stay put until morning. He doesn't offer a specific reason, but he refuses to drive the road himself until the sun comes up. They push on, only to be pulled over by a police patrol. When the officers learn the boys are heading for the forest, their routine questioning stops. They look at the motorcycle with a level of concern that makes the boys uneasy. The police begin documenting the pair in a way that feels like a precursor to a missing persons case. They photograph the boys' IDs and the bike's license plate, creating a paper trail for a recovery effort they seem to expect will happen tomorrow. At 2 a.m., they hit a third wall, a 25-man police barricade. The officers are blunt about the risks ahead, describing local village patrols who are armed and on edge, as well as the wild animals that reclaim the asphalt after dark. With 60, they've already ignored 3 separate warnings, convinced that as long as they keep moving, the road will remain a normal highway. As they pass the final checkpoint, the weather turns. A freezing, heavy rain hits the forest, forcing them to pull over and seek shelter in a small roadside hut used for housing cattle. While standing in the dark, Chandrakant notices something impossible. He is soaked to the bone, but Amit is perfectly dry. Even though they rode through the same downpour on the same bike, there isn't a single drop of water on Amit's jacket. They get back on the bike and ride until they are stopped by a group of villagers carrying sticks. When Chandrakant turns to speak to his friend, the passenger seat is empty. Amit has vanished from the back of the motorcycle while it was in motion. Moments later, a vehicle pulls up, and Amit steps out. He tells a completely different story. He says Chandrakant sped away and left him behind at the police barricade miles ago, and he's been trying to catch up ever since. The Rampur forest begins to isolate its travelers from the world they know. On this road, the distance measured on the odometer no longer matches the experience of the people on the bike. Deep in the forest, the motorcycle engine cuts out. They try to push the bike down a steep hill, but it feels like the air itself has become solid. Something is applying enough force to the front of the bike to keep it from rolling. A figure emerges from the fog. A woman with long white hair covering her face drags a heavy sack across the asphalt into their path. She sits on the road and opens the sack, revealing a small child's skeleton. The boys watch from a few yards away as she lays the bones on her lap, carefully decorating them with turmeric and flower garlands. Chandrakant and Amit sit paralyzed on the motorcycle. For the next 20 minutes, they are forced to listen to the woman weep over the bones, unable to move or look away. The woman is locked in a specific moment of grief. She doesn't attack or even acknowledge them. She is simply replaying a ritual of loss that has become part of the road itself. When the weeping stops, the boys find the strength to push the bike past her. As Chandrakant looks back, he sees the same woman's body hanging from a tree on the side of the highway. They reach the edge of the forest at dawn and meet a local villager. After hearing their story, he confirms that they saw the ghost of the accident, a figure well known to the people who live near the woods. Years ago, a woman survived a car crash on that curve, only to find her husband and infant daughter dead. Overwhelmed, she took her own life at the scene. The villager explains that many people have disappeared in those woods after being lured off their vehicles by the sound of her crying. The boys survived because, despite their fear, they never stepped off the bike to investigate. The real danger of the Rampur Highway is the weight of the history attached to it. By ignoring the warnings and the folklore, the boys nearly became another chapter in a story that was written long before they arrived.